The Search for Tsunade arc is an arc I feel most people don't talk about for whatever reason, even though it's the arc with many firsts for the show. The first showing of Itachi, the introduction of the Makikyo Sharingan, introducing Tsunade, and the unveiling of Naruto's signature jutsu comparable to the Kamehameha, that being the Rasengan. All inclusions being done to a T and truly stands out in comparison to the remainder of the show. Naruto's dynamic with Tsunade and their clashing ideals makes for the perfect chemistry between someone who's worthy of being a Hokage and someone who actually desires to be it. Speaking of which, Tsunade to me is an underrated character, in a sense where in a world full of magical ninja, she is the most human out of all of the characters we've seen up to this point, as her struggle between doing the right thing by becoming Hokage or sacrificing her morals to resurrect her little brother and boyfriend with her mother's help. It was genuinely cool to see a character have that much struggle pit against her, and it was executed well. And we can't forget about the training Naruto underwent with Jiraiya to learn the Rasengan, especially with how he found his own way in mastering the technique himself. And also the tension between Sasuke and Itachi was spectacular, as we get an understanding as to why Sasuke is going after Itachi in the first place, which will be fully realized with flashbacks in the Sasuke Retrieval arc. Very underrated arc, and I could totally see people putting this arc higher than I already have. I see no one talk about the 5 Kage summon as a whole, which is a shame because I really like this arc. The only big knock I can give it is the whole Sakura confession, but it doesn't take away from the greatness that this arc has to offer. First off, we finally get to see the other nations in the Naruto world, since the lack of world building was a big issue for many people. And each Kage has something going for them, each with their own distinct personalities and beliefs. They all want the same thing, in that they want the Akatsuki to be dealt with, but Danzo, who is the stand-in Hokage at this point, has shifty motives on how he wants to go about change, which makes him untrustworthy as an ally and makes more sense as to why Sasuke is wanting to kill him. Speaking of Sasuke, he is a complete savage in this arc. He went to a complete tonal change after learning the truth about Itachi and is wanting to seek revenge on the village for existing while Itachi had to perish. Danzo being the catalyst of that makes it easier to root for Sasuke in this case. And during their fight, we get to see Sasuke's Susanoo in action, and this fight was one of the last few that showed high IQ feats at work. We also see that after the pain arc that Naruto's character's change as well, as while he still doesn't know how to achieve true peace, he's pleading with others to stop the cycle of hatred. Him being turned down at every point, specifically with the Raikage, is a genuine reaction I expect from people who knew nothing but war and hatred all their lives. So Naruto is indeed going to have to step up to the challenge. And the foreshadowing at the end of the arc, letting us know that Naruto vs Sasuke is indeed going to happen, but with both of them dead, is symbolic to say the least. This arc does not get talked about enough and deserves to be this high on the list. Now we're getting into peak fiction territory, meaning if you wanted to substitute a placement for an arc with another one, I wouldn't look at you sideways. This is just how I view each arc going forward. And I view you about to hit the like button for this video, so you might as well go ahead and do that, as well as hit the subscribe button for more Naruto content just like this. You won't regret it. The Master's Prophecy and Vengeance arc is a bit confusing to put, not in terms of placement, but more so in my mind, these were just 2 separate arcs. Like, I typically put the Jiraiya portion along with the Pain Assault and all the Itachi Pursuit and Fated Battle into one, but since the manga and anime track them as one arc, I'll do it the same just to be fair. Sasuke's defiance for Orochimaru was unexpected to many, and looking back, it's crazy to think about that the big bad the past few arcs was beaten by Sasuke near the halfway point in the overall story of Naruto. Granted, Orochimaru was bedridden, so it was easier for Sasuke to go about killing him, but still, impressive story-wise that he did this, since it gave the idea that Sasuke would be able to fight against Itachi. Then we actually get to the long-awaited fight, and it doesn't disappoint in the slightest. Sasuke finally got his revenge he was hoping for, all for it to be fabricated, as Itachi planned this all along, and was actually a spy for the Leaf Village. This reveal was insane and catapulted Sasuke's character into complete madness, but low-key in a justified manner once you realize it was because of the Leaf Elder's doings. And amongst all this, we also have Jiraiya infiltrating the Rain Village to learn more about the leader of the Akatsuki, who ends up being one of Jiraiya's old students, long thought to be dead. Their fight led to one of the saddest deaths in Naruto and would fuel the main character into getting his get back on Pain, which I'll talk about a little later. Little to nothing wrong in this arc, and could easily be considered the best arc had it not been for the next 3 I'm about to mention. One thing the Sasuke Retrieval arc does well is keep you on the fence and the tension high. Like, there wasn't a moment where you aren't on the edge of your seat given the opponents the Leaf Genin had to face. Each fight against the Sound 4 led you thinking that each of the Leaf Ninja were bound to die. Kimimaru's fight against Rock Lee was very entertaining, the Sand Village Genin showing up was an event, and of course, what many consider to be the best fight in the entire series, Naruto vs Sasuke in the final valley. And speaking of Naruto vs Sasuke, it was an overall amazing payoff, since it hinges off the fact that Naruto is the one trying to catch up to Sasuke, while Sasuke feels like he is being limited in his pursuit of power against Itachi. And with the conclusion of the fight being something you typically wouldn't expect from a story, that being the antagonist, Sasuke in this case, proceeding to be taken in by Orochimaru, you're left wondering how the remainder of the series is going to turn out, leading into the Shippuden era of the series. Definitely a top 3 arc in my eyes. The Chunin Exams being at number 2 is going to upset a lot of people, and I totally get why. While I do really love this arc, the main critique I can give this arc is that a lot of the fights in the exams, primarily in the preliminary rounds, weren't all that great. You had fights like Sakura vs Ino, Naruto vs Kiba, and Choji vs Dosu weighing it down. But that said, these fights aren't enough for me to rank the arc any lower than number 2 because for one, they are still an exuberant amount of fights that are highly remembered in the series. Naruto and Sasuke vs Gaara at the end of the exams, Shikamaru vs Temari during, and of course, Rock Lee vs Gaara being remembered as the best fight in the series not named Naruto vs Sasuke. You also have a bunch of standout moments that would impact the show going forward, like the introduction of Orochimaru and Jiraiya, Sasuke receiving the curse mark, and the death of the third Hokage. This is the arc that gets me wanting to rewatch the Naruto series again with how exciting it is to go through it. And some people may argue I'm actually being biased in putting this in front of the Sasuke Retrieval arc for that exact reason, but I could argue against it saying that there's just too many highlights in this arc for me not to put it above it. That said, if someone wanted to switch out the placement with the Retrieval arc, I wouldn't be mad at that, but for now, I'll put the Chunin Exams arc at number 2. There was no doubt in my mind that I would put the Pain of Soul arc at number 1. This arc is the closest thing to being a full 10 on 10. Much as I love Jiraiya, I'm glad he died for the sake of what comes out of this arc. Naruto has proper motivation to become stronger to take out his sibling student Pain, obtaining Sage Mode in the process, which, in my opinion, is the peak version of Naruto in terms of how he obtains a form and performs with it, not including the Kyuubi cloak in early parts of the story. And the Pain fight in of itself is one of the best fights in the series. I believe I had it in my top 5 in my list of best Naruto fights. And what came out of it was something life-changing for Naruto, as when he talked to Pain about his philosophy on how the world is run on hatred, it changed Naruto's perception on how to combat against this nature. And even by the end of the arc when he chats with Nagato, he still doesn't have a true answer to how he will go about finding peace. But that said, he said he'll go on because he was entrusted by his master to carry on that will. It was also crazy to see that Naruto went against the grain underlined in a bunch of these superhero stories and not forgive his enemy, as I feel that it was the most human moment I've seen from him, further illustrating that he still needs to find a way to achieve true peace and not trying to gas it up at the moment. This to me is where the Naruto series peaked and stands true to being ranked as the best arc in Naruto. I know we all won't have the exact same rankings of these arcs, so I'll pass the question off to you guys. How would you rank the arcs yourselves, or at least tell me what you think the top 5 best arcs are? I'd love to get y'all's input, so let me know in the comment section below. And if you want to see more rankings, click the card you see here, which will take you to my video on ranking each and every Naruto villain from worst to best. I'm the Curly Haired Hokage, and I hope you all have an amazing and blessed day. Peace.